Hi, welcome to the Retirement Railroad. My lead tip of the day. I'm Steve, and today I want to talk about fun with detailing. Okay, now this is not a super detailed layout. Actually, I'm in the early stages of detailing, and most of us, I think, at least I, model my railroad based upon my childhood and my youth. And it's set in the late 60s, but there are a few things that are out of era only because they're important to me. Okay? We'll go back to rule one. My railroad, I'll do what I want. So, I'm not a prototypical modeler. I like to say I'm proto-representing. Okay? So, don't talk to me about, oh, this is wrong or that is wrong. I don't care. Alright? That's not what I'm trying to achieve with this layout. But let's go and look at some of the details I have so far. Like I said, I am in the early stages. But it's a lot of fun. It helps tell stories. When you're making videos much of that, you can use the different scenes and details to help tell stories, make your videos more interesting. Or when you have visitors, you can put a list together and say, find these things. Okay, and make a game out of it for people that may not be into model railroading, but help them have some interest. So let's take a quick run through of some of my current details. All right, and here we have a gentleman in I'm going to call it a 1960 Oldsmobile. It's not, but it's close. And I call it that only because we had one growing up, and it was actually handed down from my dad bought it off a neighbor. My dad handed it down to my brother years later. My brother got a new car, and I bought the Olds from him my high school years. And that car had more junkyard parts in it probably than any car in Chicago. So we used to spend a lot of time down in the junkyards along Route 83 and the Chicago Sanitary and Ship Canal. Okay, so here I am visiting, or my dad is, with a couple junkyard dogs, courtesy Mr. John Linton. And lo and behold, we've got a claw crane that's got a junker up in the air that's getting ready to swing it around to put it in a rail car. And smash it up and then put it in a rail car. But to do so, he's got to go right over our heads. All right? And of course, this is Woody's, and you'll see the scrap newspaper around and the old aged fence and so forth. Over here at the grocery distribution center, we got a forklift, and it's not just a matter of buying and putting the forklift on the layout. You gotta have an operator. And there's a bag of bits and bobs, as our Brit friends would say, and a pallet, and we got a truck, 40-foot pup backed up to the dock there. Now I spent most of my, I've spent all my adult career in grocery distribution, and working for companies that did grocery distribution, and so that's why it was important to me to have a grocery distribution center. But it's not any that I worked at. This scene is especially meaningful to me. You have Grandma Anna, all right, and she is picked up and is holding the toddler, aka me, walking towards the Fairview Avenue station in Downers Grove to do some rail fanning at a very young age. Well, on the way over there in the Pepperidge Farm truck lot, there's an Iowa State tractor trailer rig backed up to the dock. Now, yes, that's way out of era, but since it's my alma mater, I'm entitled. All right. So as Grandma Anna's picked me up and walking towards the Fairview Avenue station, you can see the commuter train there in the background, but you got a fire truck there. And eventually there's going to be a squad car and an ambulance, because it was not uncommon for there to be pedestrian incidents. Okay, so there will be a further scene developed along the pedestrian incident storyline. All right, over at Heinz Lumberyard, they also had some Texaco gas pumps. All right, seeing as how in my late high school and early college years, I worked for a Texaco full service station. I put some Texaco gas pumps in, and he's getting ready to pump the gas. His wife's sitting there waiting in the car for him. Also at the Heinz Lumber Yard, you've got the guy shoveling a load of sand into his pickup truck, getting ready to take it back to the house for a sandbox for his young sons. Time to do some maintenance on the water tower at the meatpacking plant. Oh, what do we got here? Yes, it's cow tipping. Now, I'm not the one with the hands on the cow. I'm the one standing back a ways. Because my buddy there hasn't realized what I have. That's not just any cow. That's a bull. An old farmer McDonald's down a ways away yelling at us, get the hell out of there. Oh boy, you got Trixie there. She's under the street light, you know, and waiting on some business. And Henry there across the turntable bridge, he's giving her the eye. He might be paying her a visit when he gets off work. Uh-oh, there's the supervisor. He's headed over to the shack, talk to Dusty about why it's so dusty over here. He hasn't cleaned up. And there we have our rail fanner. He's over next to Woody's behind the fence, all right, waiting to get some shots of the outbound Zephyr. Oh, and now we got young love. There's Mikey and his girlfriend. They're just sitting there chatting away, and until the cop shows up to run them off. But the real storyline here is what's going on behind the fence. Behind the billboard. Behind the billboard is my 1960 Oldsmobile, and all my high school buds and our girlfriends taking a swim in the local pond. Now we better be careful though, because through the culvert, under the tracks, into that drainage ditch, there's a snake over there. He might just find his way over to us. That'll be interesting. Back to the meatpacking plant. Okay. You got a couple of the guys, one there getting ready to load trucks, swinging beef onto a reefer, and the other one just got done with smoke break, getting ready to head back in. But the interesting thing on this scene is the stain running down that rock wall. It's kind of got a brownish red tint to it, doesn't it? Meatpacking plant? Yeah, you guessed it. And here is a scene that adds new meaning to shoveling cow pies. Yeah, cow pies. We'll use that term. Going back over to the grocery distribution center. Yes, there was two grocery distributors, institutional grocery distributors, that service restaurants, cafeterias, and such. One was Hollow, and the other was Sexton. I took some poetic license with the name Sexton and made that sign there. And now you can see the forklift operator now has a load of grocery cases that he's loading on that 40-foot pump. Back over to the Main Street station of Downers Grove, we got some commuters waiting for a train, and another commuter just got off the last train, and he's got his hand up. He's waiting for his wife to drive on up here and pick him up, since there's no parking or standing along the platform. And you just don't want to look at things. Maybe you want to use some other senses for details. Get some cows mooing there. All right. Around the back of the building, there's some pigs, or as we say in the Midwest, hogs. They're just snorting and squealing away. And since the meatpacking plant is smoking hams today, I can tell that because the whole train room smells like it. There we go, yeah. Oh, and here we go. We're at the roundhouse, and you know, what are we looking at? Are we looking at the gentleman coming out of the office there at the roundhouse? Nah. We looking at the chimney with the cotton smoke? No, not really. But if you look up there in the trees, the Illinois National Guard's got a half track sitting up there. There's some guys, you know, this is the 60s. And you never know what those guys in the Illinois National Guard are going to be doing. There you got Steve and John. All right, getting ready for their switching, getting ready to do some yard switching. So, yeah, throughout my youth and even adulthood with my own son, did a lot of hunting. All right, so we had to have a deer and a hunter on the layout as well. And here's the night scene to cap it all off. All right, with the forklift operator, all right, and the details. And you've got a couple of Fleming Foods trucks there, and yes, they're not from the right era, but again, Rule 1 applies. And since I worked for that company for over 20 years, I had to have some kind of representation of that on the layout. All right, so. With that, I want to thank you for joining me here at the Retirement Railroad Matinee Modeling Tip of the Day. Have fun with some details, and y'all have a great day. Bye now.